Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
I'm DJ Ross. I'm in Mountain View, California.
Each week on Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. We take time out of our busy schedule of just constantly shooting fireworks into the sky and annoying our neighbors.
Oh, so that's who's been doing it. All right,
Yeah.
Coming over there.
This week we're laying out the plans for our summer Backlog Attack and how you can join us and win a fabulous prize. Plus we're dipping into Golf on Mars, the Almost Gone, and the first big summer update for Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Oh, that game.
Yes, that's right. There's more Animal Crossing for us to talk about.
I'm surprised. I feel like we haven't been talking about it a lot, considering how excited we were for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to beat our listeners up over the head with Animal Crossing every single week. I try to moderate my enthusiasm.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still playing it every day. Are you playing it every day?
Underestimating how much people are excited to hear about Animal Crossing, though? What if they're just like, oh, another week, no Animal Crossing update?
Does that happen? Well, let's put it to our listeners. If you want more Animal Crossing, let us know. If you want less, let us know too, obviously. But if you can stomach more Animal Crossing, we can do more Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that's for sure true.
But yeah, I just feel like with New Leaf, it got a little overwhelming. I mean, I felt like we were doing Animal Crossing. I was doing Animal Crossing every single episode, and I'm trying to be a responsible consumer and a responsible host of this podcast and, not go to the well too often on that. So when there is a big summer update, I feel like we can slot it into the show without feeling bad about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's kind of been my approach with certain other games, which shall go unnamed, but I think that's responsible. That's a good plan.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Really just doing it for the people.
Yeah, of course. That's why we're here every week.
The millions and millions of people who download this show every week.
How can we broadcast this to Animal Crossing players? How can we get KK to be like, hey, here's your single for the week. Also, check out this new podcast I've been listening to. Suddenly, just 10 million new subscribers.
Yep. Nintendo needs a little program where, somebody like us could pay them a fee, and then every Animal Crossing player will wake up tomorrow morning and suddenly a billboard has been built on their island.
Get into the morning announcement.
With it. Yeah, there you go. The morning announcement.
I mean, God knows Isabel doesn't have anything else to talk about. So
nothing else. No.
Just anything new. People will be like, what? Now she's just advertising for people? Fine. As long as she's not talking about her crossword puzzle or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. They should sell advertising space on the little message board in everybody's village.
Can you imagine how livid people would be if
they
that
would
happened?
Be out of their minds. Yeah.
I mean, it is a huge just missed opportunity because there's never anything on that board.
Nothing. No.
But I feel like people would still be upset.
Yep. When there's an ad for Nike on there or something, that would be, it would be insane.
It'd be amazing if it started out and it was just the most tone deaf, inappropriate ads for the audience. It would be like, I don't know, Charmin or something.
Tenet coming to theaters this summer, rated R.
When is Christopher Nolan going to air his movies in Animal Crossing? Did you watch the stuff in Fortnite? I know you didn't watch the stuff in Fortnite.
No, I didn't watch anything in Fortnite, no.
I was tempted just because I'm like, sounds like a dumb thing. Let's try it. But then I remembered, I think I uninstalled Fortnite. I don't want to have to re-download that entire thing just to watch Inception for the 100th time. Tenet, though, now I think about it.
Yeah. Man, yeah, selling advertising space on the bulletin board in town would be almost like waking up in the morning and finding a mediocre U2 album on your phone that was installed there without your consent or permission.
I wonder what that's like. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Man, that's the sort of thing I would imagine. We've partnered with U2. And the average Animal Crossing player is just like, what is that?
Yeah, they're all, my dad likes U2. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Anyway.
Let's make it happen, though. I want to get on that bulletin board.
Yeah.
Anyone listening, I'll pay you 10,000 bells to put an ad for Video Game Hangover on your town's bulletin board.
Gamers are quick with the death threats, though, DJ. I'm not sure if I'm equipped to handle that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, I retract that offer.
Yeah, I can't wake up in the morning to a Twitter feed full of Animal Crossing fans who want to kill me.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
No, not at all.
Come over and chop you with their axe.
Yeah. So if you have an Animal Crossing fan in your life, maybe pitch Video Game Hangover to them, and we'll be thankful.
Yeah.
And no money will change hands and nobody will get angry.
Right, or killed.
Or, yeah.
I've completely lost where this is going.
Yeah. We have a lot to get to this week, so let's barrel into the thing. We'll save the Animal Crossing update for a little bit later. You want to start with Backlog Attackery?
Oh, shall we start with it? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So
my favorite time of year.
It is. Some people like Christmas, some people like Halloween. DJ really loves the summer Backlog Attack.
Oh, actually, so before we get into that, I have a minor correction from last week's episode.
Oh, all right.
Which is unusual because it was the music episode. You wouldn't think there are a lot of facts getting handed out on that episode, but nevertheless,
I totally thought you were going a different direction.
When I'm talking about
with that, which is unusual
from the
because
wonderful
I'm always right.
Windjammer soundtrack. That also, it's very unexpected. I mentioned that Windjammers was an SNK developed game, I think, but that is false. It was actually developed by Data East. That's such a strong association with Neo Geo games that I just assume everything on a Neo Geo cabinet was developed by SNK, but that is not true. So shout out to Data East. I'm sure they were very upset that I misattributed that game.
They were miscredited, yeah.
Yeah. But really, this is just my excuse to get you to go back and listen, if you haven't already, to last week's summer game music episode, because that was a lot of fun. So definitely do that if you haven't.
Nice. We got a nice compliment from, oh no, I forget their name. Someone on our Discord who was listening to the episode while doing some housework, some garden work, some dishes and stuff like that, and really enjoyed having the summer jams episode of Video Game Hangover to play in the background to get them through that task. So
excellent.
My apologies to our Discord member for not remembering who specifically that was. But yeah, we got some very enthusiastic feedback about that show.
Nice. Were these real? This was real housework and dishes, not in Animal Crossing. It's hard to tell these days. Yes,
it is. So those things kind of blur together. But no, I believe it was Kiddo the cat.
There we go.
They said that. Geez, I don't know if I can find it now.
That's fine. That's fine. You've done enough.
Yep. But no, I believe it was. Give credit where it's due. That they were doing honest to God home chores.
Oh well, good.
And yeah, we're happy to have some good background music to put on to get that done. Yep.
It's good not to let your actual home deteriorate, for the sake of your Animal Crossing home.
At the expense of your Animal Crossing home, yeah.
Yeah. I just imagine having people over and be like, "Oh, this is where you live." And just like, "Oh, well, I know, it's not much to look at, but you should see my island in this video game. It's terrific." But anyway, okay, Backlog Attack for real.
Backlog Attack, yeah.
My favorite time of year.
Yeah. A little background information for maybe new listeners is that historically what we've done is carve out a few weeks in the middle of the summer when the video game release schedule tends to be a little lighter to kind of motivate us, to prompt us to go back into our video gaming backlog to try to clear out some of the games that have been clogging up space in our collections and in our minds. Yeah. Right? That's generally where this thing has come from.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it started out as, I just wanted to cross some of these games off my list, as in I want to see the end credits or whatever. But recently, over the last few years, I've used it more as a chance to revisit games that have always been why haven't I played game X, or some relatively well-known game that is just absent from my gaming history.
Yeah. Yeah, I think our original attack was super long, was weeks and weeks and weeks, and we were trying to play games to completion. We had these hardcore goals of getting through all of these really difficult games in a crazy amount of time. And then it became much more concise over the years. And we were just going to try to get through, try to experience some games, not necessarily get across the finish line every single time, but dedicate, a couple weeks of our life, a couple weeks of the podcast to just dipping into a buffet of games that have been, holding on a hard drive space, basically.
It's mellowed out quite a bit since those early years.
We were so young and ambitious back in the day.
Now we're just like, just leave me alone. Let me play my video games in peace.
Yep. I played my 10 minutes. Let's move on.
Right. Cool title screen.
Screenshot, and I'm done. Yeah. So now is that time. We're going to do that thing. It's typically around 4th of July that we dip into that. And then, the 4th of July just went by. So we're right on schedule with, the 400 years that we've been doing this podcast.
Something like that.
Yep. So you can expect DJ and I to talk a bit about some of these games over the next couple of weeks. We would like to encourage you to play along with us. You don't necessarily have to play the same games as us. That would be weird. But
that would be amazing.
That would be amazing. That would be great if we could
No one's ever done that, for the record.
Whole community to just sync up with us. But we would encourage you to dip into your own collections, to dip into your own personal backlogs, or as they say on our Discord, smacklogs, and try to clear out some of those old games. And as an incentive for doing that, we would like to offer you a prize for the most commendable feat of backloggery. So for the details on that, though, you should definitely go to VGHangover.com and look for the blog post with some info on how you can enter that contest.
Yes, do that.
Yeah.
It's a great contest. It's super fun to see everybody playing along and digging up their old games out of the closet or wherever. So we hope to have you play along with us this year.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So what are you dipping into? What games do you want to play a bit of over the next couple of weeks?
I got a good list this year, I think. I don't really have a theme. I just picked out some, like I said, just notable omissions from my gaming history. So starting up, I'm going to play... Actually, I haven't even finalized if this is going to be the exact order, but my 4 games that I want to get to this month. Starting out with Deus Ex Human Revolution. I hear this one's good. This is also, incidentally, I believe this month or very recently was the 20th anniversary of the original Deus Ex, which is one of my favorite games. So it feels appropriate that I would get into this one. Just play a Deus Ex game for the 20, not bicentennial, whatever the 20th anniversary is.
I don't know either.
Maybe there's not a word for it. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But Deus Ex Human Revolution, we'll see how it is.
I think I can answer that now. It's a really good game. I really like the modern Deus Ex games. You and I don't always seem to see eye to eye on some of the more kind of bloated and goofy AAA modern games. So I'm curious to see what your take on it is. But I think that there's two, right? Modern Deus Ex games are quite good.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that series has been put out to pasture. So I'm curious what your experience is like.
It's true. I'm always a little skeptical whenever there's like an enormous AAA release. But that was kind of the buzz around this one, is that, despite the fact that it looks like a big AAA ultra polished release, it's actually pretty good. So it's not like all those other ones. So I'm just like,
and it is a big AAA ultra polished release and is also pretty good.
Yeah. So we'll get into that.
Yep.
Next will be Bloodborne. For somehow I've just never, I don't know. I've had mixed results getting into Souls games in the past. I guess this kind of follows along the same lines. But I've always been kind of curious about this one. I'll play it for a little bit. I don't know how far I'll get into it, but just so I can see what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if you get farther than I got.
How far did you get?
Not far.
Not far.
I believe this was on my backlog attack list either last summer or the summer before. And I recall playing the first 45 minutes for 4 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
Over and over and over again for 4 hours. And then I was just done with it. So we'll see how you do.
Did you get past a boss?
No, it was the same boss that got me every time.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I average maybe like one and a half bosses on all the Souls games that I played. So we'll see if this is any different.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next is a weird one. Killer 7. I had an aborted attempt at playing this back on the GameCube. It just didn't really click with me back then. But I hear it's real good. I hear it's real good eventually. So I just decided,
one of those games.
Yeah, I wanted to throw something kind of, well, I don't even know. I guess this is retro at this point. It still seems like so fresh and weird and kind of unique. I feel weird calling it a retro game, but I thought now is the time. Why not? Killer 7.
Sure.
And then finally, this is also very weird. Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. I actually played most of this back in the day. I got all the way to the final boss, and then just for some reason I never finished it. And I figure it would be ridiculous for me to just start up, like find my old cartridge, see if the battery still works, and just beat the last boss. I figure I'll just replay the entire thing. Because that was a pretty good game. It's been a very long time since I played it.
Is Super Mario RPG the one that got re-released as Super Mario like 3D on the DS, I think, or the 3DS?
No, I don't think this has ever been re-released.
Oh, okay.
It was actually, you might be into this one. It was actually developed by Square Enix or Squaresoft back in the day.
Oh, wow.
It was the first sort of RPG spin-off. Wait, is that right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It was the first RPG spin-off for Mario. And it kind of spiritually turned into the Mario and Luigi series.
Yeah.
But this one has always had, I don't know, predates Mario and Luigi, so it has kind of its own shtick, its own aesthetic, but a lot of the gameplay concepts carried over into that series.
Oh, cool.
But I had a super good time with it back in, God, when did this come out? Like 1995 or whenever.
Huh.
So it'll be fun checking it out again.
We've got the new Paper Mario game coming out this month, actually, and I will absolutely be playing that. So we'll have a Mario-filled episode somewhere in there.
Oh. All right.
People need more Mario.
Yeah,
he's a little, kind of unsung as far as video games go.
You can't go wrong with more Mario.
Yeah,
I think. I'm pretty sure.
Right. We'll find out. Yeah. Cool. Good list.
That's my list.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. I think, all of those games, not incredibly long, but I don't know if I'm going to get through all of them, but I'm going to at least try and get into a sizable piece of each one. Yeah,
that is my mission too. Particularly my first two games are pretty substantial, and I don't have a lot of faith that I'm going to see the end credits on them, at least not yet, unless they really click with me and I find myself putting all other things aside to play them. But my Backlog Attack list is written with or composed, I think, with the mindset that I'm also quite still addicted to Animal Crossing, and I still have some Last of Us Part 2 I need to play. So I didn't want to take on anything that was going to be too draining of my time or attention. That said, though, I did commit to playing Borderlands 3 at some point.
That sounds long.
It's a very long game, yeah.
I played Borderlands 2 so much. That was a very long game.
Yeah. So, yeah, certainly not optimistic I'm going to get through the whole damn thing in one shot. But what I want to put up is this ask if anyone in the VGH community would like to co-op some Borderlands 3 with me.
Yeah.
I'm probably much better at this game with a buddy. I've never been good at playing Borderlands games by myself, and in fact have only ever seen the end credits on them because I had a co-op partner or partners who kept me alive. So
you need someone for those revives, otherwise doesn't happen.
So if you would like to be that person for Borderlands 3, at least briefly, we'll jump in. We'll see how it goes. Let me know, and we'll try to pick a week or so that we can play some Borderlands together.
What platform are you playing on?
PS4.
Ah. And which character have you called dibs on already?
I don't even know what characters are my options.
All right, well, get your picks in early. Maybe you can grab one out and force Randy to play as whoever.
Who have I liked playing as in the past? I like playing as the lady with fire.
Yeah, the sirens or whoever.
Yes,
they're pretty good.
Yeah. Kate Blanchett in the upcoming Borderlands movie.
What? Is that real?
That is real. I forget who the director is. I read something just about it recently. But the star is Kate Blanchett. She will be the Siren.
That's bizarre.
It's super weird. Yeah. And maybe it's Taika, what's his name? Taika Waititi, I think. The guy that breathed some new life into the Thor movies and did Jojo Rabbit. I believe he is doing, or at least in some way is responsible for the Borderlands movie. And and Kate Blanchett was in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at me talking about Marvel things.
I don't have anything against Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
It's a cool pick for that some Borderlands character. But,
yeah,
I had no idea they were making that.
Yeah. Other game on my list that I want to tackle a bit this summer is Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Are you just trying to find co-op partners for all of these? Is that the deal this year?
You're stealing my thunder, DJ. I'm going to need a co-op partner for this as well. This is a game that is 2-player all the way through, and I'm playing it on the Switch, but I believe it is cross-platform.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you like to play some Wolfenstein Youngblood with me and kill some robot zombies together, man, what could be more fun this summer than killing robot zombies?
What is a robot zombie?
Wolfenstein is generally full of robots and zombies. Not zombies, Nazis.
Robot Nazis?
Robot Nazis.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Where did I get robot zombies?
I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing. Somebody should do that. Somebody, first of all, figure out what that is, and then make a game about killing them.
That sounds like an episode of Futurama. That probably has been covered by Futurama at some point. But
I was just trying to. As soon as you said that, I was like, "Is it a zombie or no, a robot that came back to life?" That's not. That's just a robot. It's a zombie that they, I don't know, put robot implants on. That's a cyborg zombie. I'm very confused.
Yep, I was confusing my zombies with my Nazis.
Okay.
So anyway, Wolfenstein Youngblood. I like the modern Wolfenstein games. I've played, I think I've played the two previous ones. That might be all there is. And then this is a weird sort of offshoot where you play as, I think, the kids of BJ from the previous Wolfenstein games. The twin daughters of that character. So it's a little bit of a side story, and I've heard good things about it. And the Wolfenstein games are a lot of fun. So let's run around and shoot things.
Nice.
Yeah. That said, if I don't get co-op partners, if nobody wants to volunteer to help keep me alive for Borderlands 3 and Wolfenstein Youngblood, I will still be playing them by myself, which will be fun, probably.
Hopefully, yeah.
And two others that I want to tackle this summer, Knights and Bikes. This is a little indie game that came out late last year, I believe. It kind of flew under my radar. I was at PAX East earlier this year and had a Night in the Woods t-shirt on and was kind of wandering around. And somebody said, "You, in that cool Night in the Woods t-shirt, come play this game. I think you'd really like it." And I said, "Cool, okay." And I played a demo for Knights and Bikes, and I loved it. Oh. And immediately came home, downloaded it, and then never played it.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so now we're going to see what it's all about.
We're going to play it. Yeah, absolutely. So, and then the other game that I want to tackle, and this is a game that, I think has been on, I bought it undoubtedly on the PS4 at some point and also on the Switch. And I think I have a copy even on my laptop. And have still never played this game, is Thimbleweed Park.
Oh, I thought you did play this. Wait, what was the one with the Ben Prunty soundtrack? This is not the X-Files / Twin Peaks adventure game.
That is Thimbleweed Park, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are you thinking of Dark Side Detective?
Oh, that's it. Yes, that was
okay.
It.
That's a great game, too. Would recommend.
This is another Twin Peaks adventure game.
This is another, set in the late 80s, takes a lot of inspiration from the X-Files and from Twin Peaks. It's a point-and-click adventure game. I think Ron Gilbert, creator of Monkey Island, had something to do with it. So I'm going to play this. Yeah, it seems like a thing I would like, and have just somehow never gotten around to playing it.
I hear it's very good.
Yeah, me too.
Well, cool.
Yes, that's my list.
Those last two don't have online co-op.
They do not. No, I don't need co-op partners for Knights and Bikes with Thimbleweed Park.
Okay.
At least I'm not that I'm aware of. So we'll find out when I boot them up if they're if they're like, player 2, please plug in your controller. I will have to figure something out.
Well, cool. It's an interesting list. A lot of breadth there.
Cover a lot of territory. I was trying to think of a theme. I was like 4 indie games. No, 4 giant AAA games. No. And then I was doing like all JRPGs. I'm like, that's just stupid.
I think you tried that one year and it was a disaster.
I did. Yeah, that was a big dumb mistake. So no. So I get this weird little smorgasbord.
I thought about like one of these years I should just like all 4 weeks just Persona 3 finish that game, but that's not very interesting. I should finish that game at some point, but just not during the backlog thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I went through that too. I'm like, what games do I have that are like partially complete? So there was a Dragon Quest XI, there was Persona 5, there was Octopath Traveler. I'm like, nope, these are still giant games that I have no hope of finishing over the next 4 weeks.
I'm kind of in the same spot.
Yeah.
Just staring down Final Fantasy VII and Xenoblade. And Persona 3 still sits neglected back on the shelf.
Yep. Future backlog attacks.
Yeah. Coming soon, Backlog Attack 2035.
Backlog Attack, the podcast. That's it.
Well, cool. That should be fun.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely
excited.
So updates from us will start next week, and we'll continue over the next couple of weeks. And once again, we would encourage you to go to VGHangover.com for details on how you can play along with us and win a cool prize. Are we going to say what the cool prize is? Are we talking about that on the show, DJ?
Oh, did we not tell them what the prize was? I think we should tell them what the prize is.
It's the big upcoming game of your choice. We're going to give you one more game that hopefully does not land in your backlog. You can pick an upcoming game for the PS4, Xbox, PC, PS5 if you want to go that way. And we will buy that game for you at release.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, jump in. Go to VGHangover.com for the deets.
God, I hope those PS5 games don't end up being like $80. Did you see that rumor?
I did see that rumor, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some website had them kind of like temporarily listed as $79.95 or something like that, right?
$79? Not even like $69?
I think it was $79, yeah.
Oh, well, we're committed. We said it, so...
Said it out loud.
Whatever.
Like a dummy.
Get your copy of Call of Duty 2020. $99.99.
Yep. No judgment. You can pick whatever game you want, but...
Yeah.
Maybe don't pick Call of Duty.
I don't think, not that we'd hold it against them. I don't think our past winners have ever picked a Call of Duty. We had a pretty good spread.
Our past winners have generally displayed a lot of taste, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like there was a Persona in there. Mm-hmm. Last year, was it Batman maybe? Did a Batman game come out? I don't know. It was not Call of Duty though.
There might have been an Arkham game in there somewhere. I don't think it was last year though.
Arkham. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it could be up to you this year if you are the backlog champion.
So yeah, go to the blog, VGHangover.com, and find out all about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Off to play Deus Ex.
Yeah, we got to start these now. You and I should be playing these already.
Hold on, we still got half a show left to do.
All right, bye.
I have been playing this game called Golf on Mars.
Cool. I like that you and I play a golf game every 2 to 3 weeks.
There's been a lot of golf on the show this year. It's strange.
It's odd, yeah. Are you a golf fan in general? Do you watch golf on TV? Do you golf yourself?
Fan.
Yep. Is anyone?
Did you just ask if I golf myself?
Do you watch golf? I don't know what I say.
There was one year where I played a bit of golf. What's going on? So I have this friend who lives in Tokyo normally, but he lived in the US for 1 year. And apparently it's quite difficult to play golf on an actual golf course in Tokyo. If you think about it, you're like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't know how many golf courses there are in the city, but apparently you have to get up like super early. You have to drive way outside the city to go to this golf course to just play a round of golf. And I think I don't know if this is true. You have to everybody usually dresses up super fancy. Oh. I mean, it's not just like the usual horrible golf clothes, but I've heard murmurings about people go out there and golf in a full suit, which sounds ridiculous, but also,
oh God,
I guess I can see people doing that if it's that much of an occasion.
Sure.
But anyway, he was like, all right, I'm living here for a while. You got all these golf courses around here. Let's play some golf. So I was like, I've never done that. Sounds fine. And it was an interesting summer. Golf is very difficult, it turns out. And you know that quote? I forget who said it, but it's like, golf. I'm also just going to completely butcher this quote, but golf is just the best way to ruin a perfectly good walk or whatever.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. It's a long walk ruined by a small white ball.
Is that what? Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, that's a Mark Twain thing.
I think Mark Twain sounds about right.
Yep.
It's an experience. I definitely, I didn't really have an opinion on golf before this one way or another, but I think I'm into it. It's such an ordeal, even living in the States. I don't know. It's worth doing at least once, I guess.
Yeah. I was on a golf club in high school. My grandpa was a big golfer, and taught me. I was like, I would be his caddy. As a kid, I would carry his clubs around, and every now and then he would let me drive the cart and stuff like that. It was kind of fun. He taught me basically how to golf. So I joined the golf club in high school, and we would, do golf intramurals and training and on the weekends go out to the little local course and play golf and stuff like that. And it was fun. But it did not survive high school, unfortunately. So once I graduated, I just didn't have an infrastructure around playing golf anymore other than my grandpa. So yeah, that kind of went away. But I had a brief dalliance with golf in my youth. Yeah.
I was playing it frequently enough where I was just at the point where I was looking into getting my own set of clubs, and then my friend moved back to Japan. So I was like, that was my golf career.
Saved. Yeah.
No need to invest in all these things.
Excellent.
But since then, I've played my share of golf games, or
yeah, me too.
I don't know if it's a huge spread, but it's been a lot of desert golfing on my phone, which is just terrific. Which brings us to Golf on Mars, which is actually a pseudo sequel to Desert Golfing by the same developer.
Oh my God, is it really?
It is, yes.
I've never heard of this.
Well, it just came out recently.
Oh, excellent.
I'm going to read you the description on the itch page. Please. It says, for centuries, philosophers and mathematicians have gazed up at the night sky and wondered, is there golf on Mars? The year is 2866. Mars is 35% terraformed, finally enough to allow the playing of the game of golf. So maybe we should start out talking about desert golfing. Mm-hmm. Desert golfing is a very special mobile game to me. It's one of my absolute most favorite games or mobile games of all time, just because it is so simple. Everything it does so well, and there's also just a huge degree of mystery surrounding it, because there's just, I don't even know, there's so little going on. It's basically, as you might expect, you're dropped into the middle of the desert. There is a golf pin or whatever, a golf tee, and then in the distance you see a little flag.
Right, there you go.
With the hole. And you just gotta get the ball into the hole. That's how golf works. But it's in the middle of the desert, so as you might expect, the physics are a little weird because everything is on sand. There's not a lot of obstacles like sand traps. I mean, everything is a sand trap, or water traps or whatever. It's mostly just an endless series of holes that you just golf through, and that is mostly it. It's very zen. It is just an endless game of golf that you play. But somehow, like I said, the golfing mechanics are so well done. You just, I play this on the phone mostly, so you just pull back your finger on the touchscreen, and it's almost like pulling back on a slingshot, like Angry Birds, I guess.
Yeah.
And you launch the ball into the hole, and that is pretty much it.
And what I have always sort of appreciated about desert golf is it's super minimalist. It doesn't ask you to log in with your Facebook account. There's no fail states. You can't, not get the right score and flunk out of the game and have to start over. It just goes and goes and goes, and it doesn't fill your screen or your brain with a lot of BS. So it is kind of the perfect light pick up for a little bit on a flight or in line at the bank or wherever you spend your time, and play a couple of holes of desert golf. And Yeah, and then not touch that app on your phone for a couple of months until you come back to it later under another similar circumstance.
Yeah, and you just, it's so simple. You just instantly back into it. Like, oh, I'll play another 100 holes of this or whatever.
Yeah, you don't have to sort of reteach yourself how to play it. It does one thing.
Yeah. So the two things I love about this is one, like I said, it's probably one of my favorite mobile games. It might be my favorite sports game of all time, just because it's so minimal. And this is I don't know if this was intentional or this is just how it ended up working, but it feels more to me like the actual experience of playing any sport, whether it's golfing or something else, than any other video game. Just because I think of all the other sports games I've played, all the other golfing games I've played, and there's always some kind of meter, like a power meter or whatever, that you have to, it pops up on screen, you have to hit a button when the meter's at a certain point, or I don't know, it feels very digital and mechanical. But in this, because you're using the touch screen and there's not really an on-screen interface or anything, it feels very natural and analog, to the point where it'd be very difficult to make the same shot twice in a row. And to me, that just feels like playing golf. Right. Because it's when you're playing golf, all the movements you have to do to swing the club and get the ball to go in the direction you want it to go is so difficult, and there's so many little fine movements and things you have to pay attention to. Even though no matter how many times you've done it, I imagine it improves if you really make a career out of this. But it's so difficult to just make a consistent shot every single time, and that is my experience playing desert golf.
Yeah, and the video game versions of golf that get all of that wrong, and what I mean by wrong, and probably DJ will agree, is get it so that you have to worry about which direction is the wind blowing from and at what speed, what club am I using, and where do I land on the little meter and my swing and yada yada, and all of that stuff. I don't want to think about when I'm playing golf. Essentially, I want kind of the mini golf version of that experience where you just kind of whack away at it until it falls in the cup and then move on to the next one. And don't get me wrong, I have enjoyed some of those games in the past. Mario Golf is a lot of fun. There was the Hot Shots Golf on the PSP. Mm-hmm. I played a lot of time on both of those games. But no, the sort of the leanness, the simplicity. Well, I guess the sort of the illusion of simplicity in desert golf really appeals to me.
Yeah. I love it because you can, attempt to make the same shot multiple times. Like if you fail, maybe your ball goes off the screen and it resets.
Yep.
You have to really feel it out. And as you play more of it, you just become better at making more accurate shots because you understand how the physics works and how far you have to pull back on the screen to launch the ball where you want it to go.
Right.
And it's amazing. It really feels like you're getting better at playing desert golfing the more you play it.
Excellent.
And also the second thing is it's so minimal. It's just, it also gives you some kind of hints that there might be more to the game when you start playing it. You start it up and the first 50 holes or so are just open desert. It's nothing but sand. And then hole 51 or at some point, there's a single cactus. And you're like, oh my God, what does it mean? Why is there a cactus on this hole? Mm-hmm. And it turns out it's just a cactus. But then, 200 holes later, there will be a tiny rock in the middle of the desert. And you're just like, what is happening in this game? It's the most mundane stuff is suddenly something incredibly sensational. And I've heard of people, they'll get to the hole with the rock on it, and they will use the ball to knock the rock into the next screen. So they just try and carry the rock along with them as long as possible. But then
that's fantastic.
Immediately it just goes back to endless desert, and eventually there are a few more weird little random surprises that just break up the monotony a little bit. There's one big thing in the game that happens very slowly, which I will not reveal if you haven't played desert golfing. It's amazing, but it just feels like there's there could be more secrets hiding around the fringes of this game. It seems like there probably are not, but it just the whole time, because there's been this one cactus or the one rock, you just expect some weird stuff to pop up.
Right.
But other than that, it's very minimal. I really felt like why would they ever make a sequel to this? Because it's perfect as it is.
Right. And it's endless. So it's not like
It's mostly endless. I mean, it's not endless, but it feels endless.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not like people are sort of like done with it. It was my take on it and are like clamoring for more. It feels like an infinite experience. I've certainly never seen the game over screen on Desert Golf, and I've put a lot of time into that game. So
there are like 60,000 holes or something, but eventually it does end. Spoiler alert.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
But anyway, so despite me thinking that this is in no way needs a sequel, here comes Golf on Mars. When the first time I saw this, I was just like, did they actually make a sequel to Desert Golf? And it turns out they did. And I thought, I don't really need a sequel to Desert Golf, but I'm going to see what this is all about. So I checked it out. It's like a couple dollars on the App Store or Google Play or whatever.
I can confirm too that it's on Google Play now for $3.
Yeah. And I started playing it, and it is largely what you would expect. It's not incredibly different from desert golfing. It's just the sand is red because you're on Mars, and the physics are slightly different because I guess Mars have lower gravity than Earth.
Yes.
Not okay. So the ball works a little differently than it does in desert golfing, but same general concept. Just get the ball into the hole.
Gravity on Mars is 38% that of Earth's gravity.
Oh, wow.
So you can hit a ball 7 times further, or roughly 1,400 yards for a good player.
It's like when I started it up, I wasn't sure like how the gravity was different. I know it wasn't as ridiculous as the moon. I imagined golf on the moon would be a very different game than golf on Mars. But for the most part, it feels very similar to desert golf. There are a couple of very noticeable ways in which it does differ. And I read some people saying like, oh, they don't want me to spoil stuff because desert golfing is such a minimal experience that the stuff there is to discover is kind of like, oh, like, don't give it away. Let me run into it. So if you're a desert golfing purist and you want to go into Golf on Mars completely unspoiled, then maybe skip ahead like 10 minutes. Do you mind if I give stuff away? It's nothing groundbreaking.
I'm going to play the shit out of this, but I'm... I'm sure these are not sort of on the level of Last of Us 2 or spoilers, so no. I will I'll let you do your thing, DJ.
No, not quite. Okay. It took me a little while to realize what was going on in this game, actually. So a couple things. The big thing, which actually was like I was kind of shocked when I realized this, is it's no longer one fixed screen at a time. You can kind of pan around. You put 2 fingers on the screen and you drag it around like a photo or a map or something, which is a huge game changer because if you play desert golfing, as soon as that ball got too far off the screen, it would just respawn back on the tee. But now that is no longer the case. It's kind of a double-edged sword in this case. Sometimes it was nice to be able to reset the ball. In other cases, it made certain holes very difficult because you just go out of bounds all the time. But the other big mechanical thing is you can now put like top or backspin on the ball, which at first I didn't even realize this was a thing. Like when you pull back on the screen, the little indicator looks a little different. And I'm just like, I don't know why it looks like that. I guess they just had to change it for some reason. But then eventually I figured out if you, as you're pulling back on the screen to tee up the shot, if you drag up and down with your other finger, you can start to apply a spin to the ball, which is enormously helpful. I wasn't really thinking like, I don't know if I really need this, but as soon as you really get into the habit of doing this, it's amazing. It really, it helps me land so many more shots that would just have been a disaster otherwise.
All right. Well, that makes me nervous because that sounds like extra stuff put in my desert golf.
Oh, it's fine. That's fine. I know you don't want all the mechanics like the wind and everything.
Right.
But I think it's just enough. I think it's kind of genius, actually. Because I don't want this game to suddenly just become overloaded with meters and things, but it still feels very much like a pure desert golfing experience. And then the last thing, I think that whereas desert golfing, it seemed like it was randomly generated. I don't actually know, but I think they were like hand designed up to a point. And after a certain point, they were randomly generated, and the guy would just go back and check to make sure there weren't impossible holes or something like that. In this one, I think they are fully like procedurally generated. I don't know if, well, some of them may be hand designed, but the impression I got, especially after getting stuck on a few holes and trying to Google how people had done them and getting no results, I was just like, I don't know if it's because the game is very fresh out and people have just not run into this problem, or this hole doesn't exist in other people's games, or what. But as I'm playing it, I've run into other signs that seem to indicate that it is completely random. So that's just an interesting way it differs from desert golfing.
Crazy.
It leads to some interesting holes, and that's all I'll say on that topic. There are a bunch of new obstacles as well. I won't get into those because it's fun to discover what they are. But, man, for a sequel I thought that I did not want, I am pretty into it.
Excellent. It says there are 25,770,000,000 golf holes in this game.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep. And it says that Mars is par 3, so you must aim to finish under 77 billion strokes.
I think I was doing about 2.5 per hole, and then I ran into some terrible holes that just destroyed my average. So I don't know where it sits right now.
What's your kill-death ratio on Golf on Mars, DJ?
Yeah. In the back of my head, I forget how many holes I am into desert golfing, but I kind of saw myself getting that 65,000th hole, the final one at some point. But now I'm like, well, now there's this other thing. I'm going to have to, divide my time between these two golf games, see how it ends up.
Yeah.
But, man, the new stuff is as slight as it sounds, as I'm describing it, is pretty big. It's a pretty big deal. It's real good.
Cool. What a weird random thing. It never occurred to me that I would need or want a sequel to Desert Golf. So it's exciting that Golf on Mars even exists.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
This is enough, though. We don't need a third one. Let's just call it 2 golf games is enough.
Golf on Pluto.
I don't need Golf on Pluto, please. Please stop.
Crazy.
Anyway.
Are you familiar with Desert Bus? You must be.
Desert. Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Huge fan. Play it all the time.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking about when you mentioned that at 50 holes something random happens. There's a stone.
Oh yeah.
In Desert Bus, for those who are listening who don't know, it is this weird random game that came out many years ago. I believe Penn and Teller were involved in the development of it in some way.
It was part of this whole thing, and this is worth looking into if you've never read about this. But they had a whole collection. I think it was on Sega CD. Of just ridiculous prank games. And it's actually amazing how the whole set worked, but Desert Bus was one of them. It was just a weird little mini game within that set.
And you essentially are a bus driver who drives a bus from 2 very long points from each other. I forget how long it takes. Do you know?
I don't remember the cities, but the whole conceit is that you're driving a bus in real time.
Yeah.
So it's like
across the desert,
like 8 hours to get to the whole trip.
Yeah, and you can't just walk away from your computer and let it play because there's a problem with the wheel on the bus and it lists constantly to the left or right. Yeah. So you have to be there to constantly correct the steering. Otherwise, you drive off the end of the road and lose all your progress. But it is essentially a bus ride with a whole lot of nothing that happens until at some point in the game a bug splatters on the windshield.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the only big exciting thing that happens, at 4 hours and 20 minutes into this 8-hour game or something like that. So that's exactly what I was thinking of when you were talking about desert golf. And I'm like, why do all weird golf games and bus driving games and games in general happen in the desert?
I don't know. Why? That's a good question. Why do they keep setting games there when there's nothing there?
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait for the next one.
You drive a bus for a little while, get out, you play some golf, get back on the bus.
They should do a crossover event. That would be amazing.
The game that I've been playing, and I'll be very brief on this because we still want to talk about Animal Crossing, is called The Almost Gone. This is a cool little game that came out just recently. I'm playing it on my phone. It's something like $5 or $4 on Android. It's also on Steam. It's on Switch. It's $15 to play it on though. So, you choose your platform accordingly. I think it's the same game no matter where you play it. What it is a sort of a series of little kind of isometric dioramas that you explore. It's a point-and-click adventure game where you start sort of in a bedroom and you tap on things in the bedroom and little dialogue boxes will pop up. And sometimes if you tap on a different thing, it'll zoom in on that thing and you can sort of tap a little further and explore that item a little more. And you collect items and you carry them into other rooms. The rooms of the house are done as all little kind of isometric dioramas that you can turn and explore and kind of tap around in. If you swipe kind of left or right, it allows you to kind of go up and down stairs and throughout the rooms of the house. It feels a little bit like Gone Home in that way.
Sounds a little bit like it.
And as you're doing this, you're kind of piecing together a story. There's a narrative and a narrator who will chime in on some of the things you find in the house, on some of the stories behind those items. Without going any further into kind of spoiler territory, it's deep. It's surprisingly deep and definitely not I don't know. Definitely not light. It's a heavy game with sort of heavy themes. In fact, it sort of says at the beginning, this game deals with some adult stuff. So you're definitely going to want to, proceed with caution if those things trigger you.
Okay.
If you have too many heavy things in your life right now, which is totally reasonable, there's a lot going on. Not the least of which is The Last of Us 2.
I was going to say, how much more of that do you need?
Yeah. Maybe save this game for a little while later. But I'm really kind of into it. It's cool. In general, I've liked point-and-click adventure games. I really liked Gone Home. I like sort of tying sort of narrative into exploration, but doing it on a scale that is just a house. I think that's kind of interesting. The Almost Gone does something kind of very similar, but with a different level of presentation and production. It's quite beautiful thus far. And there's nothing sort of infuriating or frustrating or, painful in terms of playing it. There's no fail states that I've encountered or anything like that. It really is just a matter of you kind of making your way from room to room and, picking up an item in room A and then realizing you can use it in the kitchen is pretty easy. These things are generally sort of jump out at you as potentially easy solutions to problems that would impede your progress. So it doesn't put up a lot of friction. It's more there to sort of kind of be beautiful and to encourage you to explore and to dig a little deeper into the story as you progress through the house.
There are no boss battles or aliens you need to shoot.
No, nothing like that. No Nazi zombies or robot zombies or whatever nonsense I was saying earlier.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, the game is weaker for it, but it's.
I was just thinking it sounds exactly like you're always talking about how much you like Prey, or at least the snooping on people's personal lives component of that game, not so much the shooting aliens component.
Right. No one's ever going to ask me to house sit for them anymore.
You're that guy who plays Prey the wrong way.
Just pokes around in people's stuff.
Yeah.
The
family gets back and you're just like, I really didn't feel like the narrative went anywhere in this house.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Prey is it's largely sort of unsupervised. So, I mean, certainly in The Almost Gone, there is a narrator who is telling you stories and is participating in kind of the exploration with you. They're a surrogate, essentially. In Prey, you're just snooping. You're really just kind of, going through people's houses and desk drawers and et cetera, and putting the pieces together of their life. Yeah, it feels a little more voyeuristic than The Almost Gone does. So yeah, it has been a delightful surprise thus far, and I would encourage if you have room in your brain right now for something a little more intense from a video game, maybe check out The Almost Gone.
Well, since I'm not playing The Last of Us, maybe I need some just misery injected into my daily routine.
I don't know if it's necessarily. Yeah, I don't know if misery is the right word, but it's
okay.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody gets stabbed in the throat.
No. Yeah. Thus far, anyways, no one is
so
has been stabbed in a throat. No. But meanwhile, I'm playing The Last of Us 2, and I've done that over and over and over and over again.
I keep hearing people talking about that and how it is a lot. And sometimes people will just they'll share a clip of it to show off some other thing that happens, but somebody will just end up getting stabbed in the throat, like off to the side while the other thing is happening. It's like, oh, great.
Yeah. I have more thoughts on Last of Us. We'll get to it in a future episode, but
come back to it eventually.
We'll come back to that eventually.
Speaking of getting stabbed in the throat, how about that Animal Crossing update?
I like it. I'm having a good time with it. I think it's a lot of fun. So what has happened here is Animal Crossing got a huge update this week that allows you to put on a wetsuit and go into the water around your island. This is a feature that existed in Animal Crossing New Leaf from day one, and oddly did not, I guess deliberately did not in New Horizons until just recently. So it was a little strange that you had you had an island surrounded on four sides by water, but you could not go into the water. You would walk up to the shore and just sort of like hit an invisible wall. And now you can go out and swim around. And of course, while you're out there swimming, there are things to collect because it's Animal Crossing. So you find a little sort of glowy bit, a little bubbly spot, and you hit a button, you dive down, and you find a crab or a scallop or other collectible things. So now there is a whole new list of things that's open for you to collect and find and fill your museum with in Animal Crossing.
I don't know if I'm into it.
No, really.
I mean, it's cool. I don't remember doing this. I mean, maybe I had the same reaction to it in New Leaf, where it was like a brand new thing to do in that game, but I was just same reaction as in New Horizons. I'm just like, oh, it's just another kind of channel for collecting stuff on this list.
It's another shopping list, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. I don't don't know what else I'd be doing besides just swimming around.
Yeah.
But I don't find myself being like, well, I've done all my chores for the day. I guess I'll just take a dive off the pier or whatever for a little bit. I don't know. Like at that point, I probably just turn off the game. I don't know if that's great, but I don't know. I am fascinated that it is just a new thing that they rolled out months after release. Yeah, and it's not insubstantial. There's a lot. Like, in addition to you now being able to explore this previously unexplorable thing that is all around your island and is huge. In New Leaf, you could kind of swim from one end to the other end. And in New Leaf, it was only three sides of your island. It wasn't an island. It was I guess you were at a peninsula in New Leaf. In New Horizons, you have an island, so it's water all around. It's gated at some point. There are little sort of buoys that won't let you're not allowed to swim beyond. But there's huge, just gallons of water out there for you to swim around in. So that feels, big. But in addition to that, it's, 10 new bathing suits for you to collect, all with sort of corresponding mask and snorkel sets and swimmies. There's if you collect a scallop, there's a character, Pascal, a little otter, who will pop up and trade you a DIY recipe for a scallop. And the recipes now unlock a whole new set of mermaid-themed furniture, which I'm not super interested in, but Pascal's cute. I do like that it's more stuff to do for those people who feel like they have already kind of done everything.
Done all the stuff, yeah. So yeah, it's just, it's more content. It's more things to do. It's more stuff for your chores list. And that's what Animal Crossing is, essentially.
On some level, yeah.
Yeah. And for the folks who sort of tackle it as I'm going to, fill my island full of cool things and make it this perfect distillation of my personality or whatever, there's more of that too. There are more pieces of furniture and wallpapers and flooring and et cetera, for you to sort of fill every corner of your island with.
Yeah. I do like the fact that, we're months after the game launched and they're still kind of adding stuff to it.
Yeah.
Even if I'm maybe not as much into this particular update, I'm excited at the potential that there could be even more things added later on.
Yeah. Well, Nintendo has been pretty clear in saying that this is sort of kind of summer drop 1, that there's another one coming.
Yeah.
But with no sort of details on what that is. It's been kind of fun to sort of see kind of the scope of some of these content drops, that sometimes it's these little one-day affairs, sometimes it's a big thing, rarely, but occasionally it's a big thing like this swimming update. It's I don't know, it's kind of an interesting way to, and we've talked about this throughout sort of the process of our exploration of New Horizons, that Nintendo's treating it a bit more like a service or like an MMO almost than a packaged game you buy with everything on the cartridge.
Yeah, which I think is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, even though maybe this one didn't land with me, maybe the next one will be good. I'll tell you what I am doing in Animal Crossing.
What?
I am trying to put the finishing touches on this Zen rock garden that I built on the corner of my island.
Yeah, I feel like you've been working on this for a very long time.
It's taken much longer than I expected. You may have seen this video going around. There's a very specific trick you can do to make sure to basically just corral all the rocks on your island to be all in the same place, which involves placing these creepy mannequins up and down your entire island. So I spent a few days doing that to make sure all the rocks started to appear where I wanted them to. And eventually they did, and I was very happy with it. Then I was, about ready to get rid of all these mannequins so I could have my island go back to normal. And I took a look at my rock garden, and I thought, like 3 out of 4 of the rocks on the one side of this garden are the same rock. Because there are like 4 or 5 different ways rocks can look in this game. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird and, artificial to just have them all be the same like that. So,
it's like the same asset the game is using?
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
So they look identical. They're like
Gotcha.
4 rocks on the north side of the garden, and 3 of them look like they're just clones of each other. So I just decided, well, as long as I got the mannequins set up, I don't want to do this again later when I get really fed up with it. So I'm just going to, keep it going. I'm just going to break these rocks again, try and get them to respawn as a different looking rock. And I just cannot get them. I can't get that ideal rock to pop up. It always looks like one of the other rocks. And it's just been dragging out for like a week at this point. I feel like I could have been done if I would have been satisfied just having 3 identical rocks. But no, it's not enough. I've already gone through all this effort to get to this point. Why not just spend a little more time on it? Oh, but while this is going on, I just feel like these mannequins are really hampering my ability to do anything with the rest of the island. Because I don't want to remove one and risk having a rock show up somewhere outside the garden. So I'm just like, let me just get this rock garden in order, and then I will get back to the rest of it. Because I got all these big plans for the rest of the island.
Which you cannot enact until your rock garden is exactly the way you want it to be.
Right. Yeah. So I'm probably not even playing as much Animal Crossing as I would like to be, just because I will load it up and see if the rock looks any different today. And when it doesn't, I will just do my chores and shut it off until the next day when I, roll the dice again on this rock. So beware, if you have seen this video with the mannequins that tells you to do this, make sure you fully understand what you're getting yourself into. Let this be a cautionary tale.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm content with my rocks being kind of all over the place. I know exactly where they are. I know where to find them every day. I'm cool with their locations. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. What if you didn't have to walk all the way across the island, though?
I like walking.
What if
I get all my steps in?
Yeah. That's what I need to add in this game, a little pedometer. Like your Animal Crossing guy doesn't get out of shape.
What has been on my mind, I was thinking, what other collectathon would I want there to be in in a future version of Animal Crossing if they did another little content drop somewhere. And the thing that I sort of came up with is bird watching.
Bird watching?
There's no birds. I mean, you could have birds as villagers, but like,
I was going to say, it's
no
a little weird. Does that mean you're just like looking into your neighbor's house with your telescope in your yard?
No, well, I mean, the game has this weird sort of dissonance in that, like, you can have frogs as villagers, and sometimes every now and then you'll fish a frog out of a pond.
You just catch one and donate it to the museum.
Right. There's octopuses. You could have an octopus as a villager. And now that you can do deep sea diving, you can catch an octopus. So, in fact, your character, when he catches a frog, says something very funny about, I caught a frog, or maybe it's a new neighbor and I owe him an apology.
Yeah. Well, that's I think one of the hamster neighbors has a little hamster with like a hamster wheel in their house. And it's just God. Like, what is this? What does this mean?
That's fantastic. But yeah, I thought it would be cool to have like a bird watching function, where like, throughout the year, different birds would come and land in your trees, and you could have a little pair of binoculars, and it wouldn't be about like catching them, but just spotting them, just like finding them. But I thought that would be a fun, like, other thing to like collect, another little like calendar based, oh, it's June, the starlings are here or something that I can like, take a picture of with my phone.
That could be cool. I think so. Up for that.
Yeah. Start writing letters.
In the middle of the summer, there's just like an ostrich hanging out in the middle of your town.
just perched up in a tree.
Yeah. I don't know if maybe that's not a bird watching bird.
Yeah.
It seems more like a safari bird or something. I don't know.
So, I'm going to start writing letters to Nintendo. I appreciate your support on this, DJ.
All right. I'll co-sign.
Cool. That's all I got. That's my hopes and dreams for future versions of Animal Crossing.
More birds.
More birds. Burb. Maybe it's just sort of the wacky animal rights liberation person in me who's sort of like, I feel a little bad like catching all these animals and making them live in a museum. So
they love
it would be
there,
cool.
though.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, is they're very well taken care of. Yeah. But I think it would be neat to have like a feature that you didn't necessarily have to like have a net to catch a bird or something like that. It would just take a picture of it with your phone, and maybe you could like print out the photos and hang them on your fridge at home, or like have a wing of the here we go, put the cafe back, give me the cafe back, and I can do pictures of my birds inside the cafe.
Okay. Are you excited for that new Pokemon Snap?
I don't know anything about the Pokemons.
Oh, you don't know? You don't know what Pokemon Snap is?
I mean, I assume based on the title that it's a game where you take pictures of Pokemon.
Yeah. Real fan favorite from back in the day. But, if you're just into nature photography, could be worth looking into.
Oh. And there's a new one.
They're making a new one.
Cool. Does it require me to like go out in the world and like walk around and take pictures?
No, I don't. It's not like Pokemon Go Snap. I think it's just all on your Switch.
Oh.
Although that would be interesting.
All right. Let me do some research.
I mean, they're not going to be just birds. They're going to be like weird monsters and things, but
yeah,
might get you that kind of, zen out and take photos of stuff. Atmosphere you're looking for.
Do you remember that in, did you play Beyond Good and Evil?
Oh yeah. No, I like the photography in that.
Yeah, you were a photographer in that, and there were like different like critters living in the world, and you could take pictures of them.
Yeah. Anyway,
wow, we are off the path.
Last thing, I was just thinking, it'd be terrible if just the reverse happened. You spend all your time catching bugs in Animal Crossing, and then suddenly an enormous roach moves in next door to you. That'd be terrible, because there are no like insect villagers.
There's no giant insect villagers. No, it'd be like Naked Lunch. It would just be weird monsters. Yeah,
it's weird where they draw the line. It's like these animals are okay. These other ones, catch them and put them in the museum.
Yeah. I went through that. Like I have dachshunds. I have two of them in my house, and it's probably my favorite type of dog and Sarah's favorite type of dog. And I was like, geez, why isn't there a dachshund villager?
Isn't there? They're kind of just like these weird generic dog things.
Yeah, they're just sort of like dogs. They're not like breed specific. You don't get like a bulldog neighbor, although I have a sheepdog. Shep is a sheepdog, and he lives in my island. But for the most part, they're kind of like generic brown dogs. So yeah, I mean, like give me dog breeds.
I don't know what a dachshund would look like standing upright and like walking around. And
they would have to be like taller than all the other villagers.
Just be this just terrifying tall dog.
Long bodied, none of their clothes fit right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if I want that then.
No, I don't either. But I don't know. It was in my mind once.
Well, maybe in the sequel.
These are the things I think about. These are the things that are keeping me.
Patch it in. A tall dog. Tall dog neighbor.
Wiener dogs. DLC. I'll pay for it. Let's do it.
How much would you pay? God, if you could just buy neighbors on the eShop, why aren't they doing that? Why?
Yep.
People are already
what if it was sort of like
for Raymond or whatever.
Right, exactly. What if it was like the what you call it, the turnip market where like it was supply and demand and everybody wanted the same villager, Raymond.
Yeah.
And he would just be hundreds of dollars.
I mean, they've already got the amiibo cards. They just got to put out some new ones. These weird, new, rare neighbors you can get through these cards.
Yeah. Well, this Raymond, the Raymond is so new. There's no amiibo card for him. So
well,
you have to
gotta get on that first of all.
Right, exactly. There's your problem.
You could just be printing money with these things.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up. We have meandered far and wide on this. If you need any more video game hangover in your brain, you should definitely follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/VGHangover. You can get more information on our summer backlog attack and the contest where you can win a free copy of a game of your choice by going to VGHangover.com. That's also where we keep show notes, links, and a bunch of other things that might be of interest to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would encourage you to join our Discord. You can get the link for that at VGHangover.com as well. What's going on in the Discord lately? Lots of Animal Crossing, of course.
A lot of Animal Crossing.
Yep.
I think I saw some Final Fantasy. Yeah, there we go.
Yep. Legos. We had a big conversation about Legos recently.
Legos, yep. Some nice Lego cars.
Yeah, definitely. So, join the Discord.
Do it. Go to VGHangover.com. Get the link. See you in there.
We would encourage you to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere else you can get a podcast. And the best and easiest way that you can help support us is just tell your friends about the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be back next week with the kickoff of our summer backlog attack. Until then, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Goodbye.
Good night.
See ya. How do I stop it?